So today we will have a look at the new Wolv from Vult, which is an analog waveshaper with an interesting sound. This is a sort of a limited edition, so there are only a limited number of modules available. If you are interested in getting one, there's a link in the description to where you can get it. And by the way, Wolv is also available for free in VC if you want to test it and see if it's something you will enjoy. There will be also a link to that in the description. We will go quickly through the different features of Wolv and then have a look at some examples, but first, let's listen to some sounds. So we have one input and two outputs. We have the main output and the fold output. I have here a sine wave coming from a self-oscillating filter, coming from Freak, also from Vult. You can see this on the scope. This is coming from the main output. And we will start with the width control, which will change the pulse width of the incoming signal. Again, you can see this here on the scope. And then we can add some folding with the fold mix. We can also rectify the signal with the pulse amp control. And this will work also without the pulse width and the folding. And we can also offset the signal. We have also CV inputs for the offset and for the width with dedicated attenuators. But let's have a look now at the fold output. And you can already see that when the width control is all the way down, we get no sound. So this will act as a sort of a VCA with its dedicated CV input. And I can start bringing in the folded signal. And again, I can offset it. So you can see how many wave shaping options we have. And let's really have a look at a few examples. So here I have a sort of a generative sequence going. I have Oct driving the voltage block, which is running randomly, and then one of the sequences of voltage block is sequencing the rate of Oct. So there's sort of a feedback modulation loop going on here, a sort of a generative sequence that I'm quantizing with the ADEC quantizer. And again, this is sequencing a self-oscillating filter here coming from Freak. By the way, if you ask yourself what is this cable going to data for, I'm just syncing data, I'm syncing the scope with the same frequency of the self-oscillating filter, just so it's better seen here on the scope. Anyway, this is going to Wolv, and I'm going to send it also to the mimeophone. For now, the mimeophone is all the way down. This is the sequence. Now we can start introducing some wave shaping. And really play this voice. So let's really get the mimeophone all the way up here. And again, the width. Has also a CV input. So let's try taking the first LFO here from oct. And let's see what happens. Maybe take this down. Now I can also use the fold output, and then again I have control over the level with the width control. So I can really play this. I'll use again the LFO to create some sort of amplitude modulation. Oh yes. Okay, so here I have a 7-step sequence coming from the voltage block going to the ADEC quantizer, and this is sequencing Plets. Plets is going to Wolv, and in a second I will send it also to the Desmodus Versio. It will sound like this. And I can shape the sound a bit. But I have another sequence from the voltage block with a different length going to the width CV input, so I can add sorts of accents, if you will. Just like this. Right now, I'm also sending the fold output. You can see this here on the scope. I'm sending it to microcell in looping delay mode. So only with those accents there will be sound going through to the microcell. I can change it with the fold amount. Change the offset. I have here also a sort of a bass/kick drum coming from the Bassimilus. I will trigger it again with the voltage block. So here I'm using the data as my main clock. It's triggering the voltage block, which is sequencing plats as a snare, the basssimilus as a sort of a bass/kick drum, and hi-hats from the sample drum. I'm mixing those voices with quadrat here, and this is going to Wolv. For now, the width is all the way down. This is how it will sound like. But now we can add some grit and character and punch to the sound with the width control. Again without. And now with. Lots and lots of character. Now I'm also using the fold output. I'm sending it to a high pass filter. I have here Vorg, also from Vult. In this case a high pass filter, and this is going to the mimeophone with lots and lots of feedback or repeats and a really short delay time. So let's bring this in. I also have some modulation coming from oct to the delay time. Again without, and then with lots and lots and lots and lots of character. You can take it even to extreme, but somewhere here is the sweet spot in this case. I also have a clock division triggering an envelope here on the disting, and this is opening. As soon as I will connect it, it will open the VCA of psych, which is again being sequenced by the voltage block. So we will have also a sort of a sequence. Oh yes, going through this modus versio. Now Wolv would also work with control voltage. So here I have an LFO coming from oct going to Wolv. You can see it here on the scope. And now I can start shaping the LFO, start shaping the triangle wave here. So again, I can change the pulse width and I can add some or a lot of folding. Another cool thing is, especially with oct that is bipolar, I can also rectify it and then we have a unipolar signal. So let's add some folding, something like this. And I can also offset it a bit. So now we get a really unique wave shape out of a triangle. Right, and let's listen to how it will sound like, for example, modulating a filter. So I have here a drone coming from psych, going to freak. And actually what I'm doing, I'm splitting this LFO with a splitter, and you will see soon enough also why. But one copy is going to the cutoff point. So this is just psych going through this modus versio. And now I can start introducing the modulation with the folded LFO. So we get this rhythm. And we can modify the shape even further. For example, if I take another output of the LFO and I modulate the width of Wolv, so now we get a different shape. So again, we can shape and fold, also CV, also modulation. This will work also with envelopes. And this is why I multed this LFO. I'm going to use the same signal to drive the voltage block. So every time it goes above a certain level, the voltage block will advance one step. And it will sequence plats in this case, so we have a sort of a synced sequence to this rhythmic LFO. By the way, plats is going through beads. In this case, it's a sort of a delay. Now I have here another voice, another loop coming from Morphogene. I just recorded plats on it, and this is going through some distortion with guillotine, the one new distortion from Ritual Electronics. It's going through Vogue, again from Vult, and through microcell. Maybe you take the modulation out. This is how it will sound like. But now I can add more modulation from the fold output, so the shape will look a bit different, and this will modulate the cutoff point of this filter. And you can hear the movement also here. Another fun thing to try with Wolv is a feedback loop. So what I have here, I'm using the data as my oscillator. You can see here it's moving, it's receiving a sequence from the voltage block, and I'm sending it to a mixer, to the quadrat, and from the quadrat it goes to Wolv, and then I'm multiplying or creating a copies of this signal. One of these copies is going to the mimeophone, so it will sound like this. And of course I can change the sound now with Wolv. I also have a sequence here from the voltage block going to the width CV input. That I can also bring in. So again, this sine wave is going to a mixer. From the mixer it goes to Wolv, and then I'm multiplying the signal once to the mimeophone, and another copy is going to the Desmodus Versio, and then back into the mixer. So we have a feedback loop. The sine wave is going to the mixer and Wolv, and then this is going to the Desmodus Versio and back to the mixer, which means that this goes back to Wolv, Desmodus Versio, Wolv, Desmodus Versio, Wolv, and so on and so forth. So we created a feedback loop, and now I can bring in this voice from the Desmodus Versio with this knob here. This is the second channel on quadrat, so we can create really nice distortion and feedbacky sound. Of course, this can go a bit crazy, but also a bit so feedback loops are also fun with Wolv. I have here another sequence coming from plates going through beads. So let me just send it there. Just as another texture. Okay, and that was it. That was Wolv. Again, links in the description to where you can get it if you want it. Again, it's a limited edition. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and cheers.